Hey everybody, happy Sunday. It is Kit here and welcome back to Dragon Yarns where I am in the same outfit as before, working on the same project. Yes, I'm recording these back to back. Just take a moment and breathe it in because this is the last video and then I will have made it. My parents will be here. I'm recording both this last time and this time on May 7th. My parents will be here on the 11th, and I've got a test in 2 days, and my goal was to get all the videos done, minus Clear Obscure, but all the ones, like, the normal and whatnot, all of those done by today, and I did it as soon as I get this one done. So, sorry, I'm taking a little victory lap for myself right now. I'm like, ooh, yeah, ooh, yeah, ooh, yeah. I can't wait to be off my computer and just relax a little bit. Nah, it'll be good though. I've had a lot of fun. So, I am still working on the blanket from before. We are now on row 8 because, dang it. I don't know if y'all saw that or not, but I found I skipped one, so I had to freaking frog back and just, dang it. But anyway, okay, so we're doing another part of Chicago. We're gonna pick up where we left off. The previously on portion, they continued. So Green contacted somebody else in the pack who is a tech guru, Ben Dominic. A very shy, nice man, but very, very shy, very, very submissive. He was not able to find anything on Winters. Even through facial recognition, name searching, all of that, couldn't find anything, which was unfortunate. The boys, Cooper and Green, continued to trail Lacey Hale, the vampire, throughout the mall and found out a few different things. They found out that there is a big ball going to happen soon. There's a very special guest coming to the vampire clan. She has to learn how to waltz for this gig, and she spontaneously decided to go partying with her gal pals that night at this very schmancy modern nightclub that the boys barely had time to prepare for. So then they were able to prepare for it. They get to the club. It's hell for them. They don't know where Winters is. She shows up. Tries to just walk in. Bouncer does not let her in because it's $100 surcharge basically to get in. Cover charge. I don't know. I don't do nightclubs. Yeah, and Winters is, well, just like a homeless person, so there's that. Yeah. So she gets kicked out, but she ends up getting into the club anyway. The boy, and she just comes up and is like, well, what information have you got? And they're just like, read the room. At least try to go make yourself look more presentable because, she's drawing attention to them. She looks very conspicuous. She smells. The barkeep is already looking at her, and so they're like, just go to the bathroom at the very least and wash up because, they're trying not to draw attention to themselves. Any of them, really. Well, okay, maybe not Winter. She doesn't really care. Fine, whatever she does. And then they were waiting on her while they're just like, what the hell? And then the fire alarms got pulled. And that's where we're at. So, let's keep going. Was it too much to hope she was powdering her nose? Karen shrugged. I'm not sure. Loud alarms blazed throughout the club, which caused pandemonium to occur. Both of the men winced at the shrill fire alarms, and soon the crowd began to rush the exit doors, ignoring a bouncer's shouts for a calm, orderly exit. Cooper downed his drink in one deep gulp and stood, grimacing as he glanced around at the freaking out crowd. Kieran stood and peered over everyone's heads, looking for Winters and any sign of a fire. There was no sign of either. Well, hell. This isn't going well. Cooper sighed as they got in line. Bouncers counted heads as employees searched the club, but whether for the fire or club goers, the men didn't know. Green waited until they were out on the street corner before continuing. Any sign of her or Hale? He muttered the vampire's name quietly, fully aware of where they were. Cooper covertly sniffed, using all of his senses before shaking his head no. No, I can't sense them. Wait. Green heard it a few seconds after his friend did, and they took off at a rapid pace, crossing the busy intersection. Harsh luminescent lights of bars, eateries, and even a movie theater beat down on them, the natural night sky above looking a sickly orange due to light pollution. Cars honked and people swore, but they didn't care, going to the sound of drunken, harsh giggles and screeches of triumph. Ooh. Whoa, wait a minute. Hold up. 1 second. I see a potential error. If I can copy and... Can I type? Holy mama, I don't even know what I just typed. Okay. I can't remember. I don't know if it was Lacey Hale and her 6 or Lacey Hale and her 5. So we're going to keep going, but I made a note to go look to check back later. Lacey Hale and her 6 best gal pals were sauntering down the slightly filthy sidewalk 30 yards ahead of them. You should have seen her face. Green's stomach churned uneasily, his good hearing picking up their elated laughter. How did a homeless bum get in anyway? You showed her, Lacey. I hope that cut you gave her scars. It would give her something of interest on that ugly mug of hers. Cooper was hot on Green's heels, his upper lip curled in disgust at the girls just ahead. Yeah, Lacey, where did you get your nails done? They are like razor sharp. I need me some. Tell me your secret. Wait, wasn't it Dwayne at Britchley Salon? Dang, I need to get an app ASAP. But like, why take that jacket? It smells atrocious. You are going to get it dry cleaned, right? Dry cleaned, Chels? You serious? For real, girl? Just trash it, Lace. It's disgusting. I bet it has Lysol in it. Ew! Green spotted Winters coming out of a side alley. If she saw the boys, she did not have any outward response, walking with deadly intent towards the girls. She looked every bit of the homeless bum the women were laughing about, but both men saw the amassing shadows at the girls' feet. She looked so much smaller without the jacket, and a lot more vulnerable. Pale, thin arms, naked to the elements, nearly translucent blue veins trailing under her skin, with small, delicate hands balled into white, angry fists of rage. She was shaking, and both knew it was not from the cold. No. Whatever Winters was, she was furious. Winters, no! Green burst into a run, his long legs catching up to the smaller woman quickly. He outstretched a hand and roughly gripped her shoulder to prevent her from going any further. The shadows amassing around her scattered, slinking back to their normal places as she whirled around her, her right fist connecting with his face. He jerked his head at the last moment, and her fist connected with his jawbone, icy, fragile knuckles cracking on impact. Green felt nothing. It was the barest of pressures, but pain lit up those enraged blue eyes. Quicker than her punch, he snatched up both of her wrists in his left hand and used his right forearm to cover her mouth, effectively gagging her. It was child's play as she squirmed, clearly unaccustomed to hand-to-hand combat against a larger foe. It took very little effort to use his larger frame to force hers against the grimy brick wall of the dark alleyway. Cooper was right there in case backup was required, but Green had it under control. All around the three, shadows swirled and darkened their surroundings. Comma would be helpful there. The men stiffened as they felt icy fingers caressing their skin under their clothing, the pinprick feeling of being hunted bearing down on them. Throughout it all, Winters struggled, wriggling and screaming against his grip. She tried biting his arm, shoving with all she had, her body trembling and thrashing as hot, angry tears fell from her wild eyes. Enough. Authority oozed from his tone, but once again she defied, those eyes looking in the direction of the street, with painful longing. Winters, look at me. He waited, but she never did. Either look at me, or I can end this all right now. Playing nice was long over. At those words, she stared into his eyes. His eyes glowed gold, while her... Another potential incontent... I think I changed his eyes when they're glowing to just a darker, like a deeper, more bright green, if that makes sense. Like a, well, bright Irish green or something. I don't know. But gold, I don't know if I want to keep that or not. Anyway, his eyes glowed gold, while hers seemed to dance in blue flame. Power, terrible and ugly, swirled in the air. His anger versus hers. His hand tightened on her wrists. She clenched her jaw under his heavy forearm, pinning her head against the wall. Her nostrils flared, and she blew out a harsh puff of air, a raspberry being blown against his arm. Suddenly both Cooper and Green were careening to the ground. A nearby light bulb, all but hidden in the thick wall of shadows, exploded in sparks and falling glass. Harsh squeals of metal echoed against the narrow alley walls as a tall gutter was ripped off of a building, bending and twisting to pin both men against the littered asphalt street at frightening speed. Can I speak? Oh, God. Hydration? Green groaned in pain as the unrelenting metal pressed down on onto his stomach wound, pinning him in place. He had landed on his back, but Cooper had managed to land on his stomach, twisting to try and spring back up into the fight before the metal had fallen on them. Yet he was not done. Magic thick in the air as he shed his human skin. I'm gonna say, Cooper, hello. I know, Dr. K. I know. I need help with pronouns. Yet Cooper was not done, magic thick in the air as he shed his human skin, clothing ripping as a small grayish-tan coyote wiggled out from under the pressing pipe, launching at the concentrating woman. His snapping jaws locked onto her right calf, and she cried out before shadows gripped the coyote and flung him far away against the wall. Green used the distraction and Winter's momentary lapse in concentration to bench press the ruined gutter off of him, surging to his feet as pain sang through his nerves. Winters was there one moment, but gone the next, leaving nothing but shadows surrounding them, but even those were called away until it was just him and the coyote. You good, Coop? He jerked his head at his best friend, who was already up and shaking wet trash off of his coat. Cooper sneezed, giving a little quiet whine for yes. Good. Now where the hell did she go? Green's own beast wanted to shed this human skin and rip a certain woman, limb from limb, to prowl and stalk until his prey was found. Only he did not have to look far. She had not disappeared too far away, only to the other end of the alley, a good 20 feet away. With her back against the piss-coated, grimy wall, she slid to her butt, taking deep, shaking breaths with her trembling hands clutched against her small chest, knees drawn up tight. Shadows coated her skin, as if to shield her from complete view, but why they weren't doing so, he had no idea. Harsh, ragged breaths escaped her bloodied lips. He could see now that she had harsh, red, bleeding scratches on her left cheek, and her nose was beginning to drip with even more blood to mix with the flow of tears that streamed from her closed eyes. Her jeans were torn, Cooper's teeth marking her right calf. Blood was soaking into those discount shoes and stained, cheap white socks. All in all, she looked nothing like the menacing, rage-filled woman she had been a mere moment ago. Rage-filed! Awesome. Yep, I know how to spell. Green shared a cautious look with the coyote, who was openly snarling in her direction. Proceed with caution, Green sent him, both moving as a unit towards the shaking woman. I need to figure out how to reword Green sent him. It's a mental message. Okay. Both moving as a unit towards the shaking woman. It could very well be a trap, a way to have their guard be lowered. With that sort of power, then this Fae has to be. This, maybe I need to reword that too. It's fine, right? With that sort of power, then this Fae has to be. Witches didn't do this sort of thing. The woman didn't even look at them as they approached, just held her broken hand and rocked. Herself, thank you. Apparently I don't know how to write. Why am I reading this? Sorry. Her voice trembled. She did not sound like the neutral, somewhat annoying, aloof individual they had been dealing with for the last day. No. This sounded like a broken girl. He had heard that sort of tone before from many young women in his lifetime. Some he had been able to talk down and help. Others were now no longer of the living. His jaw tightened, his empathy stirred. She had attacked them, not the other way around. She should be sorry. With the two standing 10 feet away from her, Green hesitated, staring down at the Fae. On the one hand, they should just leave or kill her outright. He hadn't had a good feeling about this entire arrangement all day, and after this encounter, that feeling had only worsened. On the other hand, looking down at the sorry girl, well, Fae or not, empathy did stir. There was something about her, and he didn't like it. Not one bit. Coop, what do you think? The coyote was poised to strike at a moment's notice, bloody saliva dripping from his jaws. I don't trust her. Yeah? So, nothing has changed? What does her blood taste like? Can't be a witch. That taste isn't there. Cooper would know. Both men had had their fair share of it over the last 200 years. It tastes funky, like the normal copper, but there's a stronger richness to it, and also an earthy musk, if blood can be earthy. A zippy tang tinge of magic. Also, it's colder than expected. What's your call, Green? Green hesitated. Evidence pointed to walking away, but his gut was a different story. I'm not entirely sure. As Green and Cooper were mentally discussing what their next move should be, Winters was having a discussion of her own, but not with the men. Give it to them. Her eyes flickered to the shadows swirling all around her. Green tensed, his and the coyote's attention on the woman once more. Give what to whom? He waited a moment, but she never replied. Winters, give it to them now. Her eyes glowed a dark ethereal blue, and the shadows got darker as a result of the power leaking from her tone. Eventually, a dark blob of shadows moved across the damp, filthy pavement, coalescing and leaving a pink, rectangular-looking object in their wake. The men backed away from the shadows that stuck around for a moment, as if to taunt them, before promptly disappearing. That is Lacey Hale's phone. Winters was somewhat back to normal now, still shaking with exhaustion leaking from her wobbly voice. The vampires have a private network set up between all of their devices. Yeah. Yes, those things. Her phone just got connected. Apparently all of their information is run through a private data farm. Confusion crossed her features as she licked her lips, but Green said nothing. Watching, waiting, and listening. Neither him nor Cooper made a move to the smartphone lying face down in the dirt and grime. Winters said nothing else, closing her eyes and regulating her breathing instead. Likely a response to pain, exhaustion, and emotions, Green reasoned. No one moved an inch, except for Winters plopping her forehead against her drawn-up knees. What do you think about this? Not sure, boss. Cooper's confusion showed through their shared link. I could tell she's being honest, but I still don't trust her. Do you? Not one bit. Still, a data farm? Private servers? It makes sense for a group as shady as this. In that phone. We could take it and go. Or find out what else she knows. Green wasn't sure why, but he wanted to ask a few more questions. Some of a more personal nature, like who and what she was truly, because as much as he distrusted her there, because as much, oh my god. Like who and what she was truly, because as much as he distrusted her, comma would be nice. The comma there would be great. There was just something so raw about her crumpled in front of him. His gut told him it wasn't a performance. No one could act that well. Snot dripped down to join the bloody tears, and she carelessly swiped boogers away as she stared down at her lap, her guard completely down in front of them, or so it appeared. Shifters were dominant creatures, and to show the back of her neck to them like that? Either she had no idea, didn't care, or, well, he wasn't sure what it was. It was both perplexing and troubling. Yet, despite all of the questions he had, it was best to stick with business, and so he did just that. What happened when you left us at the bar? He resisted the human urge to stretch and feel his tender stomach. Getting shot in the kidney, then panini pressed into dirty pavement by a gutter didn't feel the best. Her nearly purple eyelids fluttered open, watery blue eyes finding his light gold ones. I went to the washroom to wash up, like you two wanted. Her voice was flat, dull, lifeless. Hale and her friends came in when I was nearly done. They saw someone that did not belong, so they decided to make me feel unwelcome. She took a moment to swallow, blinking another few tears away. I am not really physically strong, so... She took my jacket, and I quietly took her phone. At jacket, her voice broke, and the waterworks began once more. Kieran studied her for a moment, waiting for more, but nothing came. Yeah. Did she cut your cheek? All Winters did was nod. So, you wanted to get revenge for her taking a jacket. He sighed when her jaw tightened and the tears flowed harder. It's not just... It is not just a jacket. She doesn't do conjunctions at this point. Or contractions, whatever the... It's contractions. It is not just a... Low and angry, her voice broke again as tears fell further. One deep breath puffed from her bloodied lips. Then another. Another. In and out. All Green could do was stare at her huddled up on the filthy ground, with her back against the grimy wall. Winters was showing more true emotion than either of them had seen from her yet, and at such a convenient time, too. But, once again, his gut said it was genuine. She's crazy, Cooper muttered through their shared link, the coyote growing restless beside him. Green couldn't have put it better himself. The next time she spoke, Winters spoke. God, I'm so bad with these. She sounded less estranged, just exhausted. You two should take that phone and go. Find out how to access the farm. Everything should be on those server things. The information to find all the kidnapped children, the drug deals, all of it. She made no move to leave, and neither did they. Instead, Green finally stretched a smidgen, wincing, testing the waters, seeing how her body language might change. Was she using this all as a ruse, waiting for their guard to be down? Would showing this small weakness, a little chip in his armor, change her demeanor at all? Would she try to strike or shift the subject? Yet none of that happened. She just waited, eyes still closed, tears beginning to slow with that exhausted slump in her thin, bony shoulders. Gonna get rid. Okay, I'm just changing some of the she's out for Winters because Aha. Okay, there we go. Winters looked like the perfect prey, but his instincts screamed otherwise. Do you know who the special guest of theirs is? Both men watched with piquing interest as her eyes fluttered open, those blue orbs now filled with concern and a little panic glancing in their direction. No. She hesitated. Not exactly. The shadows around Winters darkened, bobbing and weaving along her skin. What does not exactly mean? She wasn't being entirely truthful, and they all knew it. Winter's lips twisted into a grimace. They could practically see the gears turning in her head of just how much to say. Green wanted to know everything, but more importantly, why wouldn't she share everything? What did she have to gain by withholding from them? What did she know? Look, you do not need to know. She began cautiously, but stopped at Cooper's growl. Tell us anyway. Cooper's growling accented Green's tone perfectly. She sighed, as if annoyed, but not having the necessary energy to convey such an emotion. You can bite me again if you wish, but I am not going to tell either of you everything, because simply put, there are certain beings and rules in place to do certain things and keep things running. And both of you are much better off knowing nothing, or at least as little as possible. Cooper whined and snapped his teeth in her direction as a threat. Winter simply offered her leg as a chew toy again, clenching her jaw. There. Bite. You will not change my mind. Is she being serious right now, Karen? Cooper's shocked thought hit Green, who was perplexed. Hell if I know. Don't bite her. Even as Winters was actively offering her leg, Green just wanted to tuck her leg under her and tell her to be quiet. Just who the heck does this sort of thing? Someone who needs therapy. Or a fae. The coyote snorted and wheezed. Then his one touched Faye like, damn! Well, are you going to bite or not? You both only have so much time, you know. Best to stop wasting it. Wincing, she jiggled her injured leg, lifting it with difficulty into the air. What the... Cooper swore as Green groaned, resisting every single urge to just shake her silly. Instead, Green threw caution to the wind, taking the opportunity to test her once more as he stepped forward, bending down and grasping her arms to lift her to a standing position. She did not fight him on this. Okay, Winters did not fight him on this. Golly. Kit, get with the pronoun game. Maybe that him will be okay, right? Winters did not fight him on this, weighing little more than a sack of flour. Than a heavy sack of flour. Yeah, weighing little more than a sack of flour. He did notice. Okay, I'm going to say green there. I'm so sorry. Green did notice that the shadows disappeared the second his fingers touched her skin. Whether this was her doing or something else, he was unsure. Winters stood with most of her weight on her left leg, wincing at the rough treatment, but otherwise saying nothing and doing nothing. Her eyes were off to the left. She refused to meet his gaze. He saw all of this and more, noting how Winters cradled her purple, swelling hand to her stomach. Empathy made itself known again, but he tightened his resolve. Green tightened his resolve. Somebody send help. Crowding her space and forcing her to look him in the eye. Winters was so small, especially when he had one hand on her left arm and the other braced against the wall behind her. What are you doing, Green? Questioning. He looked hard into her eyes, searching for, well, something. Anything. Was she Fae? Was she friend or foe? What did she want? But those tired, sparkless eyes showed nothing but hardship and tragedy. Nothing useful for him. Why did you attack us? Her lips flattened together, then she wetted them. Winter's lips flattened together. Can I write? Can I? Really? Okay. Winter's lips flattened together, then she wetted them, biting her bottom lip as he held her gaze. He wanted those answers. He would have them. Green wanted those answers. Oh, for God's sake. Eventually she sighed, remorse flickering on her face. Have you not ever lost control? Blown your magical kettle? I was angry, and I am not great with emotional control. The last part was said bitterly, filled with self-hatred and frustration. For whatever it is worth, I am sorry. It was clear she was not accustomed to apologizing, or really even speaking. That had been evident this entire time, but now Green felt like he was getting somewhere. All right. He waited a moment before continuing. And the guest? She began to scowl, growing defensive, but he simply covered her mouth with his large, calloused hand. Green's voice grew deeper as he tilted his face lower to hers. I remember what you said, Winters. But I want answers. He felt her nostrils flare up, but she made no moves, declining to speak until he slowly removed his hand. Fine. She was unhappy, that much was clear, but she was willing to speak. For now, at least. They are a vampire. Likely a rather old one. They like to check in with certain clans on occasion, and it is always a large affair. There we go. Consider them like a god to these vampires. Or one of your funny picture box people. Her facial features slacked for a moment, eyes going blank in a way that seemed very familiar to the two shifters. Funny picture box people? What do you think that means, Coop? If she means TV, I'm calling it. She is an alien in disguise. Could explain the weird blood taste. Television and celebrities, yes, those, she continued, snapping back into the conversation as if nothing had occurred. Do not be in town when they show up. Do not expect them to help. They likely are aware of the clan's illicit activities, and if they have not done anything, then they do not care. Vampires take priority over shifters, children, or no. Her voice softened, just a little. Find your missing child and get out of town before they show up. Neither of you stand a chance if it comes down to a fight with this individual. Let's just change one of these to there. Okay. Green mulled over this for a moment. What's their name? I cannot provide that. I do not know it, and even if I did. Cooper whined and sneezed. Green cocked his head. Yes, we know. You can become a chew toy for all you care. Cooper sneezed again as she just stared up at Green. As Winters just stared up at Green. Seriously, somebody help me. You are wasting your time with these questions, shifter number 2. She seemed to shrink back into the wall as if trying to get away from Green. Help! Winters, okay. His grip returned to her arm as if that would keep her there. She was injured and uncomfortable, but at least she was talking. If this is what it took, then that was what they would do. What about you? Can you fight him? Her bottom lip cracked and bled as she laughed. Winter's bottom lip. Oh. Absolutely not. She chuckled, shaking her head. I will not be saving either of you if that was your idea. No. Your best option is to use the phone, find that data farm, and rescue your missing child that way, preferably sometime tonight. Green's jaw tightened, annoyance and pain slowly coursing through his system. Winters may be talking, but the answers were roundabout and perplexing. He didn't care for riddles and circles. He was a simple man who liked simple answers. Winters wasn't simple. What are you going to do then? She shrugged, wincing and shifting her weight. Keep watching and observing until I am otherwise told. Told otherwise, maybe, would be better? She offered nothing else. Winters offered nothing else. Staring up at him for a moment before sighing. Good luck, Green. She ducked slightly to sidle under his arm and get away, but found his arm and moved to block her in. Winters stopped, brow furrowing. Shadows swirled and coalesced around him. Wait. Don't leave. Growling and glaring at her, he took off his jacket. Coop. Shift. The coyote began to melt away immediately, morphing back into a now naked Cooper. Winter's eyes widened and she audibly choked, looking up and away to not see anything. What are you wanting to do with her, Kieran? Unlike Winters, Cooper had no problems with nudity and kept his gaze on her, ready for anything. Take her with us. I don't trust her, but I want to keep a close eye on her. I can't tell if that's a smart move, but this entire city is filled with stupid decisions. Cooper caught the jacket Green tossed at him, putting it on and smirking at Winter's blushed cheeks. It was obvious she had never been around a naked man, or perhaps she was just a chaste sort of woman. Either way, it was humorous to Cooper. Me too. Winters began before clearing her throat. You might need some pants. Flustered, she fumbled in the shadows between her and the wall, suddenly holding a pair of dirty, mystery sweatpants that had seen much better days. I would rather be buck naked as a jaybird than wear those. Cooper wrinkled his nose in disgust. Not just because they smell like a dumpster sewage fart, but also because I don't trust her. I don't blame you there. Just cover your junk with this. If anyone asks, it was a stripper party gone wrong. Act drunk. Winters frowned, but dropped the sweatpants, shrinking into herself as Green unbuttoned his dress shirt in front of her. Shrugging it off with mild difficulty, his impressive physique flexing. Oh, wait, I see. I like how I'm correcting and I didn't need to correct. Yeah, 1 second. Winters frowned, but dropped the sweatpants, shrinking into herself as Green unbuttoned his dress shirt, shrugging it off with mild difficulty, his impressive physique flexing mere inches from Winter's small frame. He could feel the heat of him. He could feel the heat of embarrassment radiating from her, which just added to the mystery. A chaste, innocent, but powerful fae? His brain hurt from trying to figure her out. Green handed over the shirt without a word to Cooper, who tied it around his waist, arranging the longer part to cover himself adequately in the front. There was not much that could be done for his back end, but he did the best he could, wearing the one size bigger jacket and arranging the tied shirt sleeves to try and cover his butt crack. If only Alex could see you now. Or Aggie. Green, if you sneak a peek, I am gonna kill you. A smirk began to grow on Green's face at that wonderful idea. One that Winters thankfully did not see, as she was all but covering her eyes in embarrassment. Green kept a hand on her cold arm to keep her from disappearing. At least he hoped it would prevent that from happening. Cooper blew out a breath. Right. So this has been quite the night. Starting out at a fancy nightclub, dressed in the fancy itchy clothing, and ending the night looking like a stripper tease gone wrong. He wiggled and flexed his lanky body, causing Green to roll his eyes. Cooper wiggle. We're just gonna say Cooper wiggle. Winters did not see. She refused to uncover her eyes. What's wrong, Winters? Never seen a man before? Oh, kill me now, she mumbled quietly, cringing. The men snickered. The shadows bobbed up and down, tickling her exposed neck, poking her in the ribs. At least that's what it looked like. Green couldn't quite figure out what was real or not when it came to the shadow tricks. Cooper bent down and picked up the phone at last, handing it to Green to put into a pocket. Into his pocket! Into his pocket! Oh, for God's sake. I'm a terrible writer. Absolutely. Come on. Green began to steer her away. Pulling her away from the wall. Steer Winters away. Yes. For fuck's sake. Pulling her away from the wall and clamping a hand on her other shoulder. Without uncovering her eyes, she stumbled and limped around, making pain noises. Where are you taking me? And more importantly, why? Did you forget I just attacked you both? Cooper flashed a toothy, savage grin in her direction, the taste of her blood still lingering on his tongue, red staining his lips. Yes, and so did I. Green gave him a look, staring down in bemusement at Winter's successful attempts to keep her eyes closed. I don't trust you as far as I can throw you, and I would rather keep an eye on you. Besides, you may still be useful. Green tugged on her covering hand. You can't walk like that. Come on. Winter's eyes were screwed tightly shut as she let her hand fall, and he chuckled. Yes, I'm fixing pronouns. I'm horrible. Apparently, I'm really bad with pronouns, but we're almost done with this part. That's why this is going a little longer. I can walk just fine. Thank you for your concern. Wrinkles covered every inch of her brow and nose with the effort she was giving to keep her eyelids shut tight. Cooper snickered. So you would rather risk us leading you into a trap than to have your eyes open around a mostly covered naked man? He whistled quietly. You got your priorities straight, that's for sure. Winters continued to limp forward, struggling to keep up with the men's longer strides, but Green did not let her go. There are other ways to see. Cooper sniffed, shaking his head in disbelief. Right. Nothing more was said between the sorry trio on the slow walk. Winters kept her eyes closed the entire time, cringing when someone catcalled or whistled at Cooper, who grinned and played it up a bit. Green kept a firm grasp on the woman's arm, pulling her closer to him to pretend to be a couple if anyone bothered to look. Cooper kept everyone's eyes off of them, and both men kept their senses heightened to avoid any cops, although miraculously there were no cops on their entire route home. Not even a patrol car. Cooper found it fortuitous, because he was not sure he could keep a straight face and flaunt his stuff for a cop. He was struggling not to give in to cackling hyena laughter. What Cooper did not know was that Green did in fact manage to capture a few pictures and even a short video of Cooper, planning on using it as blackmail later, if they survived and succeeded in their endeavors for the trip. Oh my, and that is the end of one, this reading, and two, that part. So we have covered the first evening and the next day. The next part is that night. So that is the third out of 6 total parts. So we've covered 2 of them. So roughly the first, what, 24-ish, less than 24, just about hours, technically, actually. Almost getting to 24 hours. Yep. Oh, man. I am so bad with freaking pronouns, apparently. Apparently, I'm allergic to them. I don't know. I'm a bad writer. At least I can make myself laugh. There's that. So, yeah, hopefully I get a good amount of progress done on this blanket. Hopefully I don't skip a freaking stitch like I did last time. And, yeah, so I don't know when I'm going to read this next. I don't even know if y'all want more, to be perfectly honest with y'all. But that is up to y'all. I'm so stupid. Well, anyways, yeah. Anyway. But yeah, so a lot of things happened in the reading, and I for some reason I feel like I shouldn't talk about it. I don't know. Y'all probably don't care. I don't know. Can y'all tell I'm tired? Okay. I'm gonna go now. Thank y'all so very much for watching and bearing with me. If y'all watch my other videos, literally this entire month is a cluster trucker, and I really hope that the quality of the videos is okay and just everything. And it has been okay. I hope y'all are okay with these videos and just everything. So I've done the best I could with what I got. So, there's that. But I really do appreciate anyone who listens to these readings and who watches my stuff. I really appreciate you guys. So I think next time I will probably be working on the blanket some more. I'll be in Texas most likely, and I will do a chit chat instead of a reading. Or I might do a bit of a mix. Would you all be open to that? I don't know. Let me know. But it probably will be a chit chat because I'll actually be able to update y'all somewhat on things. And who knows, it might be a puppy cam. There will be plenty of puppy cams probably around this time. So, yeah. But anyway, I'm going to go now. Thank y'all again so very much for watching, and I hope y'all have a fantastic rest of your day and the beginning of the new week. Bye now.